Here's why you should never pay off your house.
If you're a guy in your 20s and you don't have a Lamborghini, you should actually sit down and have like a serious discussion with yourself.
So I measure time. I've compressed and condensed time. I've bent it.
Okay, so today is going to be a good one. We're going to be looking at some bad TikTok financial advice. With the amount of gurus that yap on every podcast you could think of, we end up with some pretty insane clips. I think this one's going to be more of a fun video because people are starting to wake up and realize how full of crap these grifters are just to sell you a course. But I mean, I guess it works at the end of the day because they wouldn't be constantly pumping out these podcasts and clips and viral moments, whatever you want to call it, out for anybody in the world to see if it didn't end up making them money. And that's where their actual wealth comes from, not from any of the things that they're trying to teach you. So we have a lot of examples to go over today, along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But let's start off with this one. If you don't have a Lamborghini in your 20s, apparently you are a failure.
If you're a guy in your 20s and you don't have a Lamborghini, you should actually sit down and have like a serious discussion with yourself as to why you don't have a Lambo. Yep. Because I realize now that it's so incredibly easy and there's so much money out there, and 200 grand relative to what is out there in circulation and what you can grab, especially now with AI tools that you can leverage like never before, 200 grand is chump change.
So yeah, you need a Lamborghini to consider yourself successful. Also in your 20s. If you get it in your 30s, nope, failure. If you get a Ferrari or Mercedes, something like that, failure. And then the easiest way to justify grabbing just $200,000 with all the cash circulating around the world is leveraging AI tools. I don't think you could get any more of a broad statement than that. Didn't you guys realize you could just leverage AI tools and then boom, checks just start rolling in, 6 figures, 7 figures, you name it. And most likely not a surprise to you, almost everyone we're going to see in this video has a course that they're trying to sell people. So at the end of the day, you're just paying for his Lamborghini, not leveraging AI tools. We have a pretty depressing comment from one of you guys, honestly. My family member is addicted to sports betting. He was sad in confessing to us that he lost his retirement fund and was saying he just didn't get it because he listened to so many podcasts and YouTubers and he did everything right. He fully believes that if he keeps trying, he could recoup all of his losses and make a lot of money. We hear that a lot amongst gambling addicts. They'll quit as soon as they break even again, and they never break even. But it seems like his family member did watch all of these podcasts, most of the alpha male money and girls and buying all these cars and mansions and whatever, and unfortunately took it very seriously and lost everything because there are tons of grifters out there making it look like they win all the time on sports betting. All you got to do is join my community and I'll give you my picks. And the result of that is this comment, unfortunately.
Here's why you should never pay off your house. Here's your house. It's worth $100,000. That's what this stack is worth. And you've been told by Dave Ramsey and other people, I got to get my house paid off because I'm going to be financially free. False. Most people will accelerate getting their house paid off by throwing extra money on their 30-year mortgage. And maybe after 20 years you do it. You finally wipe it out. You own your house free and clear. I got news for you. What do you have for retirement? You got nothing for retirement because you put all your focus in getting your house paid off. Instead, mortgage that house, access the majority of this money. You know what I'd use it for? I'd go buy 5 more houses. Imagine those first 5 houses are each cash flowing $500 a month. But a few years later, you're going to sell those 5 for 15 more. And you're going to sell those 15 for 50 more. Now imagine $500 coming off of every one of those houses.
So you're not supposed to pay off on average your most expensive purchase you're going to make in your entire life because it is so easy to take money out of your first house and go buy 5 more and then 15 and then 50. Maybe this was a viable option if you already had a good amount of money during 2020, during COVID. Interest rates were super low and maybe it worked. But now 5 years later, mortgages are wildly more expensive than they were. And there are quite a bit of people mad at those landlords taking all of the houses right now because nobody could afford them. On top of it, in this climate, it is not as nearly as easy to just become a landlord and buy those 5 houses and have tenants that will never break anything, never cause issue, always have payments on time. And then I guess you could just ride off in the sunset. There are no issues ever. We could look at some of the comments. Heck no, house paid off. Retirement is much easier with no mortgage payments. Paid it off, best thing that I ever did. There are many comments like this, and we've seen this guy a few times on this channel. He's just another one of the kind of copies of Grant Cardone, the exact same cookie cutter videos as every other guru, him jumping out of a BMW i8 trying to sell you his course. But we have another comment from one of you guys. You're absolutely right about successful people not sharing how they make money. I have an online side hustle and make decent money, but I do not tell anyone how or where I get my stock. I don't want the competition, and more importantly, importantly, no one told me how to do it. I discovered it myself. Therefore, if I had to do that, everyone else could as well. That was on a previous video with me talking about these grifters, selling you the real estate life or the day trading life, the sports betting, whatever they're trying to show. If it truly worked and they made that much money off of it, they wouldn't want to teach anybody else how to do it. It would just breed competition. It would be better to do it in complete silence and make your millions, tens of millions of dollars. But it's much easier in this day and age to make it look like you know what you're talking about on a podcast or online in general, instead of actually finding a niche and genuinely making that kind of money. Now, this next clip I think is a result for having to be on podcasts all the time or making content just constantly, almost like the Gary V way of social media, where there's just so many posts and clips and photos just being pumped out into the void all the time that you don't even make sense at the end of the day.
Show me how long it takes you to order at a counter, and I will show you your bank account. People who take forever to order when they stand in line, one, are really comfortable inconveniencing somebody else around them, which means they have limited self-awareness, maybe borderline narcissism. And then simultaneously, they're not very efficient at the things that don't really matter. That coffee order does not really matter. And so if we know we are here for a finite amount of time, why spend so much time on that as opposed to a walk, a sunset, etc.? That's why they say you should take somebody to dinner before you hire them, or take them out to lunch, see how they treat the staff. But I also think, see how quickly they make decisions.
So if you don't make decisions instantly, I guess you're poor. Because if I walked up to Starbucks or whatever sort of fast food place and I instantly didn't know that I wanted some chicken tenders or the specific coffee drink, that I'm caring about something that's insignificant, I guess I should just get a black coffee, and even though I don't like it, I'll drink it anyway because it doesn't matter in the grander scope of life. Like, I do understand what she's trying to say at the end of the day, but not everything has to be philosophical. But those types of clips are what go viral on social media, so everything that's spewed out by all of these people just turns into a whole bunch of nonsense like this. Some of the comments here are great. People try to get on a mic and try to make some thought-provoking statements, but swing and miss way too often. Girl, I'm just indecisive, calm down. Joke's on you because it takes me 2 seconds and I'm in a debilitating amount of debt. I'm not a narcissist, I just forgot my glasses and can't read the damn menu. Overall, I'd say I'm a more serious person than most, but it doesn't have to be this serious, man. It's crazy what people do and how they speak just to possibly get a viral moment on social media. We have another comment from one of you guys from a previous video. I'm 5 seconds in and seeing Adrian Peterson give advice is unbelievable. If you don't know who that is, he was a professional football player. Despite making $103 million in his career, he had to surrender assets to repay a $12 million debt. He was another one going on podcasts saying that he made a good amount of money off of penny stocks. So just knowing that and him blowing over $100 million in his career to being negative $12 million in debt could kind of tell you that you probably shouldn't take financial advice from him. But up next, we have a real easy way to write off all of your clothing on your taxes. You definitely won't get audited.
You see that right there? Ronnie Lambert, CEO of Fortress. I don't do this as an ego thing. The reason I'm doing this is so I can write off my clothes, because clothing is not tax deductible. But when you put your name on it or you put your signature on your shirt, it's now a uniform. So I get to write off the clothes, I get to write off the cleaning, and because I get to write it off, I get to save more of my own hard-earned money. If you want to learn more about how to pay less in taxes, send me a DM.
Every time you hear that at the end, send me a DM, message me. It just funnels into another course that you have to pay way too much money for virtually no information. But yeah, if you just go grab a Sharpie and start writing your name on all of your clothing, it's tax deductible, apparently. This has the stench of audit waiting to happen, especially if you try to get away with this stuff. If you have in the past and you didn't get caught, I'm not going to tell on you, but you're basically telling on yourself when you put up a TikTok like this for the entire world to see. Another guy added a different creator, Nick the CPA. They're getting more and more creative. No, there's also a very specific requirement that it can't be reasonably worn outside of work. This is 100% incorrect. I mean, there are hundreds of comments like this. I know that these videos are catered to someone who's just getting into the self-employment space or the business, trying to work on your finances a little bit more. But the reason why I hate these videos so much is that this could be dangerous if you just see one single TikTok and take it as face value and start copying these people. You could get in a lot of trouble with the IRS, and it's not somebody that I want to mess with at all. and we have another clip right here. Girl Math is opening a brand new LLC for $200, then applying for a $50,000 zero interest business loan, then using it to invest in your first Airbnb property for $10,000 and paying off the funding with the profits from that Airbnb. I think that's particularly funny right now because with the struggles in the economy and the increased cost to own a house right now, own property, people running Airbnbs are shutting them down left and right. But before I talk about that a little bit more, you can't just open up an LLC for $200 and magically get $50,000 with a zero interest loan. Do you know how catastrophically bad that would be? It'd be another Chase Bank glitch. Clearly, it's not as easy as this clip seems. The other part with the Airbnb, shocker, if you look at the description, Roxanne Airbnb mentor. Hashtag girl math, hashtag passive income, which it's not passive income. Airbnb arbitrage, another red flag there. Business funding, and then the For You page. But going back to the problem with Airbnb in general right now, many areas in the country are starting to change laws to ban Airbnb in places like that. Even if that isn't the case, the increasing costs are actually making hotels a pretty viable option at the end of the day now. So less people are using it, and of course, trying to buy some property in 2025 to be able to profit off of it through renting it out is way harder than this person makes it out to be. But as you all probably already knew, start making $5,000 to $10,000 a month with Airbnb, and she just ends up trying to sell you another course. We have another comment here. The only consistent method to getting rich quick in America is to convince others that you have the secret to get rich quick in America. I mean, picture perfect example was that last clip there. Here we have another one of a guy just yapping. He's manipulating and changing time now. Oh man.
So I measure time. I've compressed and condensed time. I've bent it. My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy. You're crazy for thinking it takes 24 hours, just like some dude in a cave did 300 years ago. My second day starts at noon and goes till 6 p.m. That's day 2. And then the next day is 6 p.m. to midnight. What I've done now is I have changed and manipulated time. I now get 21 days a week. Stack that up over a month, I'm gonna kick your butt. Stack it up over a year, you're toast. Stack it up over 5 years, my entire life is different than it would have been otherwise.
This guy has somehow convinced himself that just working all day turns into him changing time and completely changing his life. I feel like this is a clip many people have seen before because everybody just started clowning on this guy. So this is a prime example of a guy just saying a whole load of nonsense on a podcast. I mean, the host was completely silent through it, just staring at him. I knew he must have been thinking like, what are you talking about, man? But most of the time, the hosts don't call these people out because they know that they're getting clips and they're going to get views and in turn money from these gurus just saying a load of nonsense on their podcast. We got another comment here. When I was 16, I saw an advertisement in the newspaper for information on starting an envelope stuffing business. I sent my money to this person, and a few weeks later, I received a few sheets of paper on how to put an ad in the newspaper advertising an envelope stuffing business. So this guy got even during the times of the newspaper. So clearly this is nothing new. There's been charlatans since basically the beginning of time. We're just in the social media age where the reach is unbelievable because almost everybody has access to the internet that could connect you with anybody around the world.
When I broke up with my ex, I took a one-way trip to Thailand and I had like a $10,000 Nordstrom credit card, and I was like, just it. Take out all the money from the card. I went crazy.
How much did you had in debt at the time?
15,000.
No money saved up to pay for
No,
it.
I got a call from like attorney. They're like, there's a judgment against you. We're suing you and all this stuff. And I never took it serious. Like I tore up the paper.
Escapism a
Yeah.
little bit.
So I found this law firm and they
Offer you bankruptcy.
yeah, it was gonna be like $2,000.
That's the price generally, yeah.
I was like, can you lower it? And so it's like $1,690. The judge asked me questions. They had already trained me and taught me what to say.
How much debt do you had at the time?
$28,000.
Judgment comes in March, 6 months in the process. What's the outcome?
It got completed. Like,
Wiped out.
Wiped out, yeah. Like all my accounts and my lease, my car lease.
So you get a second shot at life, pretty much.
Yeah.
So this clip I really didn't like because she just pulled the plug at $28,000, which I'm not saying is a small amount of money. However, when we look at the credit card debt videos and people deciding to go bankrupt, they do it because they are in way worse of a situation. I don't like when people file for bankruptcy either way because I think it is just a reset switch, and many of the people who file in the first place end up doing it over and over and over again. And there's been a lot of examples on my channel. So many people don't learn their lesson. They just think think that it's a free way out. So I can spend all that money and go to Thailand and rack up thousands of dollars worth of debt, and then not even $30,000 in the hole. I'll just reset it. It'll be fine, and I'll do it over and over and over again, and I'll never be financially ahead. We can look at some of the comments. Filing for bankruptcy for $28,000 is insane. 28K and filed for bankruptcy. Please don't glamorize filing for bankruptcy. The next clip, so many people, including myself, thought that this had to be satire, but apparently it's not.
All right, thanks for paying your rent this month. Go ahead and sign here. It's just gonna ask you a couple of questions.
A tip? I'm not tipping my landlord.
So you'll tip a barista who pours overpriced coffee into a cup, but not the guy who's on call 24/7 to make sure you have a safe home?
I'm not tipping you. This isn't a restaurant.
Okay, so you'll tip an extra 25% for somebody to carry you a basket of chicken wings, but you won't tip someone who responds for after-hours emergency calls? Yep. Well, I guess when it's time for your lease renewal, I'm gonna make sure gratuity is included in your rent. It's a little tip I learned from Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
It's so uncomfortable just to watch. But I don't think I really have to tell you, with the 10,000 comments that this video got, that not too many people agreed with this, with rent just constantly going up. We've seen videos previously on this channel with landlord horror stories. I mean, crazy stuff. That now apparently you're supposed to tip and pay even more to the landlord. I mean, just adding on to the existing problem that everybody needs a tip now. You go and grab a drink and food for yourself, walk up to the cashier, and the iPad shows you a 20, 25, or 30% tip when they did absolutely nothing. And I guess the same now for landlords when you're already paying thousands. Some of the comments, the server slash barista actually works. The service workers are also making $3 an hour. My landlord never fixes anything. My oven hasn't worked for a year. And I mean, there are so many comments like that. I feel like this clip must have been bait just to get the engagement, but they've made several continuation videos like this as well. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But now we have the classic course seller on this channel, Grant Cardone, telling you shouldn't save any money.
Saving money is stupid. It is ridiculous. The only thing that ever happens to people that save money is they end up losing it, it ends up getting lost, it ends up getting stolen, or it ends up going down in value. But it's never going to get bigger. You save money at the bank, it ain't getting bigger. We've all been told, save your money, save your money, save your money. Who does that really benefit? I remember I read the blackjack book, How to Play Blackjack. I knew every card to hit. And then I realized everybody at the table had read the same damn book. Everybody's staying on 16s. And this freaking guy's banging 16s against 9s or 16s against 7s. Everything he shouldn't do, he's doing. And he's making all the money. He was the only one not playing by the book.
This is just another long-winded way of saying you gotta be different. You don't have to play by the rule book. Don't save any money and you'll be way ahead of everybody else who does save money. I guarantee you this turns into putting all your money into assets, which for him is real estate again, and then you'll be able to make the big bucks. But please, before that, buy my course. However, if you do take Grant's advice and never save any money in your lifetime, you'll be fine if you take the advice for the next clip, because money will just come out of thin air, apparently.
You're going to want to watch this video till the end, because I'm about to share a powerful money mantra that I promise has worked wonders. After I read this mantra the first time, within 3 days, $5,000 came my way. And the second time I got $1,500 literally within 48 hours. You ready to save this video? Here's the money mantra, and I'm telling you, try it. For the good of all and with harm to none, $5,000 is on its way to me. It belongs to me and is used how I choose. I thank the universe in advance and focus on the abundance I already have and the overflow of abundance on its way. I will be surprised at the speed and ease at which it manifests into my life. I expect the money to come to me within a few hours, but no more than 3 days. And so it is.
If you truly believe this kind of stuff, you have to be in a pretty rough financial situation if you think it just appears out of nowhere. This is getting dangerously close to a video that I made on my second channel where people were paying money, and I mean good money, for spells on Etsy from apparent witches. Crazy stuff with relationships and love spells and money spells. You could win the lottery if you just bought this like $100 spell off of Etsy. It was honestly unbelievable, and I'm getting the very same vibes off of this video. But I mean, I guess I didn't do the mantra, mantra. So everybody who's watching this video, if you do it, and if magically $6,500 just appears out of thin air, let me know. I'm gonna start doing it myself. But we're gonna go back to somebody telling us that we can write off virtually everything in our lives for tax purposes.
Stop throwing birthday parties. Throw a mastermind event instead. Masterminds are tax deductible. If you're bringing your group of friends together, we should be talking about revenue generating activities. You're still gonna have alcohol there, you can still have music there, and instead of just talking about how you're gonna party and get turned up, we're gonna talk about how we're actually gonna make some money, help each other, and push our ideas into the world and into the marketplace. This is how you're able to leverage the tax system while still having fun and turn around and get write-offs for you and your friends. Comment below if you'll be utilizing masterminds as a new way to reduce your tax bill.
It's the same outros every time, but this is the same guy who also said that he was able to write off his personal chef because of the same reason. If he had his family over and a chef cooking for all of them, if he just starts talking business with his family, boom, everything's written off. There was another clip where he was going on vacation all over the world, and because he shot a few videos with his iPhone, it became a business expense. This is all for his lifestyle and his brand and blah, blah, blah. Again, just another really easy way to get audited by the IRS. A comment from one of you guys goes hand in hand with it. You can write off everything until the IRS does an audit. I highly doubt that any of these gurus actually do what they say because they would get audited. But for somebody who doesn't know that they could actually get in trouble, I'm worried about them. They're just following some guy that looks super wealthy, has a nice suit on, drives a Ferrari, has a mansion. He's doing real good in life. He must know what he's talking about. I'll follow his steps and his course, and then boom, you're the one who gets audited and in a huge amount of trouble. I found that there's also a new wave of these gurus that are definitely centered towards the Gen Z and Gen Alpha type of Mr. Beast videos where you have to be very loud, show all the money you're making, and then have the crazy jump cuts, just the very overstimulating type of videos. Because looking at this at almost 30 years old is just, it makes me feel like an old person.
How much can I make in a week as a 20-year-old full-time day trader? $52,000? Yeah! $52,000. Yeah! Monday. Tuesday. Wednesday was really good. Thursday as well. And today I made $5,481. Look at how pretty this looks. I'm gonna cry. Man, you know, I was just a kid, man. I grew up, I had nothing, man. I did all this by myself. Now I'm rich! Anybody can do this. I've been posting videos for 5 years. At some point, y'all gonna start listening to me.
I think the worst part about this is that I believe that it works. You start looking at the comments. How do I start doing this? Because I saw it on my FYP. I've been studying, can't wait to be 18, so he's not even of age to day trade, but he's watching this guy. Another comment that I thought was interesting, I feel like bro's been 20 for 3 years now. It's probably much more lucrative to the younger, more impressionable audience. If you're 20 years old, you're just a little bit older, you're technically an adult. But if you're 30, 35 years old, oh, you're just an old person. You're not like me. But if you're just a couple years showing that you apparently made $50,000 in a week, the younger Gen Z, the Gen Alpha will probably believe you and then buy your course. Even if they're not an actual adult yet, apparently. This next clip I had to put in, but unfortunately I could not find the original, so I had to settle with another Gen Z, Gen Alpha, just fried, overstimulated brain type of clip with two things going on at once.
It's only one car you buy and the rest you lease. 150,000, Range Rover, it weighs 6,000 pounds. Section 179 IRS says anything over 6,000 pounds you can write off 100%. You could buy it on December 31st, write it off that year, even though you didn't even drive the car. Boom. $158,000 you get to write it off that day against your earned income if you have self-employment money or an LLC producing other income. I would pay cash for the Range Rover, we did, but the Cullinan that I have is a leased vehicle. I leased it with no money. I put it on a 24-month lease, never longer than that. Whatever the payment is, if you can't handle that payment, don't do it. And then every 24 months I trade that car in. Why do I do a lease rather than own? Because I can write off 100% of that lease payment every month against my business income.
This just turns into another one where everything is apparently a write-off. You buy it, it's a write-off. You lease it, it's a write-off. It's fine if you buy it on December 31st and write off that whole $150,000. I bet there won't be any red flags to be audited. What he also doesn't say about the 6,000-pound vehicle that you are allowed to write off is that that has to be 100% for your business. You can't be driving around doing whatever you want and then once in a while you take it on a business meeting. It has to be used just for that, which in turn means means you need another vehicle to do your normal everyday life, going to the gym, groceries, whatever you're doing. But that's not nearly as interesting to say to you compared to, oh, I could just write off a whole Range Rover and then I'll get a lease of a Cullinan and I'll write that off too. All of these people make it try to sound better than it actually is, and you take this stuff at face value and implement it in your life and you could get into a lot of trouble. Up next, we have another one of these guys that are basically just calling you a loser if you're not doing as well as him.
Alright, I'm probably about to get hella hate for this video, but it's whatever. It is extremely crazy to me that I'm 19 years old on my way back home from the gym, driving a Corvette, and I'm passing 30 to 45-year-old men driving Subarus and Nissans, going to work for 9-10 hours a day. Now, this isn't to hate on anybody that has a job. Like, bro, any motion is better than no motion. You're providing for your family. Like, bro, I salute you, bro. There's actual bums out here. But it's like, I'm doing way less work than them, working way less hours, and making way more money than them. It's just crazy how, like, kids can literally make so much money by doing so little work. And it just blows my mind away that, like, so many more people don't do it, and they're just trapped inside of this, like, mindset that they need to go to college, they need to go get a job, because I guarantee you 80% of these people driving this regular traffic out here went to college, got a regular job, and they're still there today. So, bro, just take that risk. Not everything is a scam, bro. Take that risk. It's like dead ass, bro.
The ending is perfect. You know, take that risk. Not everything is a scam, including my course. Please buy my course. But yeah, I bet everybody on the face of the planet could become some sort of entrepreneurial course seller like this guy is shockingly is. But in the very similar way to the Zoomer Mr. Beast day trader type of clip, this guy is definitely catering to the younger people, probably in high school, getting close to the real world, maybe in that college age. And yeah, you could be just like me, driving around in a Corvette, working way less, making way more money than these bum losers going to work their normal 9-to-5s. Like, it definitely does get tiring after a while, but at least I'm glad I'm starting to see people who are just blatantly making fun of these guys.
If you want to build for your kid's future, take out a credit card in their name, but not to build credit, to destroy it. I have 18 different credit cards maxed out in my son's name, and his credit score is a dumpster fire. Without paying upfront in cash, he will never be able to buy a home. He will never be able to buy a car, but he will have something priceless. Motivation. I started with nothing. Imagine what my son can do if he starts with less than nothing.
And we're going to finish off this video hopefully helping people avoid these bad money advice TikToks, because apparently 27% of adults have taken this advice.
4 ways to tell you're being sold a bad financial product. First off, if you can't explain how it works or generates money to your grandma, it's a bad financial product. If it promises massive returns with limited or no risk, it's a bad financial product. If the marketing or the salesperson resembles an early 2000s infomercial, it's a bad financial product. If it's being sold with an artificial sense of urgency, it's a bad financial product. Please, I promise you, you don't need whatever they're selling or whatever is being advertised in your financial life. Run or scroll away.
So unfortunately, I feel like I can make these videos into the end of time. There are tons of new gurus that pop up every day, but hopefully this helps at least somebody out there to not get duped and lose a whole ton of money, or possibly losing everything to gambling like that earlier comment we saw. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.